Good morning, everyone. This week we're going to be talking about some mechanical procedures that keep a court running efficiently. At least that's the hope. Such efficiency is managed in several different ways. First, via some techniques called case management, and very often in modern courtrooms or courts, case management is a combination of human activity and software. Most of the time, in fact, that's what it is. There are various kinds of software that are used from one state to another or by the federal government, generally speaking, but not always. All of the courts within a certain state will use the same software, and most federal courts also use the same software as each other, but there are big differences from one state to another. Once you get past case management software, you also get into a couple of other techniques to keep a court running efficiently. One is called docketing, which is the process of keeping a running list of all of those cases and proceedings that will require the attention of a judge. That docketing task is performed by clerks and deputy clerks. And it is also, just like case management, it's also assisted usually by one kind of software or another. In very, very small rural courts, maybe it's still done by hand, but even those are mostly moving toward an electronic filing system. You'll also be learning what that means, electronic filing. Another technique for case management and for courtroom efficiency is called calendaring. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's also done by the courtroom clerks or the court clerks, and it is the process of keeping a schedule of the proceedings, hearings, and trials that have to take place within a certain time period. Many state courts operate on a basis that's called a term. A term will begin on such and such a date, will end on such and such a date, and all of the cases that are going to be heard in that term will be calendared for certain days during that term. Which brings us to the third thing that we're going to be talking about this week, and that is continuance. Continuance is the legal way of saying postponement, and very often, in fact, almost all the time, proceedings that are scheduled will be postponed. That's not always the case that you will continue, or that the parties will continue things like pre-trial motions or minor hearings or little proceedings that do nothing except require a judge's signature. But when you get to more extensive procedures like trials, I'll tell you honestly that in 40-some years, I've almost never seen a trial take place on the date it was originally scheduled to take place. They're almost always continued at least once. This week, in your readings, you're going to get into some of the reasons for that. It's not a matter of laziness necessarily. It's not a matter of money. It's not always a matter of even of strategy. Sometimes it simply can't be helped. The parties are ill, or they can't be found, or a witness has gone missing, or new evidence has shown up so that the original trial date won't be appropriate anymore. There are 100 different reasons for continuances, and there are also rules, more or less strict rules governing the granting of continuances. Whether or not a continuance in a case is granted is entirely up to the judge in the case. Some judges are very amenable to requests for continuance, some of them are not. Some of them like to keep a very rigid calendar. Some of them have to keep a very rigid calendar because they have such an overwhelming caseload. You'll be getting into all of those factors in your readings this week. As you go along, if you have any questions for me, for heaven's sake, as always, just ask via email, and I'll do my best to answer you as quickly as possible. One of the things that you'll be thinking about, I hope, and you'll be asked to think about, is how the efficiency that is promoted by case management techniques and docketing techniques and calendaring techniques and and well-run courtrooms, how that kind of efficiency relates to justice. Sometimes having a case proceed exactly on schedule with no postponements and no continuances and everything is just running right on time like the train should. Sometimes that's good, but sometimes it impacts on justice. When you start thinking about this, start thinking about which is more important. Is it more important for a court to run efficiently according to a schedule with no glitches, or is the ultimate justice to the parties? And I'm talking here about the parties to a criminal proceeding, but also the parties to a civil proceeding. Which is more important? Justice for all those parties or the efficient running of the court? Now, in an ideal world, the answer to that would always be justice. And really, it still is, no matter what kind of world we're in. But sometimes justice does fall by the wayside in favor of efficiently running a court. That's never intentional, but it does sometimes happen. And you will see in your readings how that could be and why it might happen. I look forward to your input through the discussion board and your papers and so forth. And I can't wait to hear how you react to this, because in this country, in this culture, we're taught to believe that things that run efficiently are good. And we're also taught that things that are just and fair are good. Well, when those things come head to head, you've got two goods battling each other, which should come out on top. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about that. By the way, you may notice that I have the same clothes on that I had in the last video. That's because I'm actually recording 3 videos today. I'm going to be out of town for the next couple of weeks. I'll be on my computer, but it won't be really a good situation for me to do video. So I'm doing these a little bit ahead of time. I do have other clothes. And also, by the time you see this, it might be so warm that I shouldn't be wearing a fleece anymore. I certainly hope so. I'm wishing you guys a very nice spring, a happy week, a productive week, and I will see you soon. Bye.